Spider-Man has fought countless enemies, but some villains go beyond crime and chaos. They bring pure terror, from monstrous creatures born in nightmares, to killers who thrive on fear and madness. These villains reveal the darkest side of Spider-Man's universe. Today, we'll uncover the scariest and most disturbing foes Spider-Man has ever faced. Prepare yourself, because once you see them, you won't forget them. Spider-Man may be Marvel's friendly neighborhood hero, but his world is anything but friendly. Hidden in the shadows of New York City are villains so disturbing that they blur the line between comic book fantasy and horror movie nightmare. These aren't just criminals, these are predators, demons, and killers who embody fear themselves. Let's begin with Carnage, perhaps the most terrifying of all Spider-Man's foes. Born from the same alien symbiote that created Venom, Carnage bonded with the sadistic serial killer Cletus Kasady. Together, they became a crimson monster, with razor-sharp tendrils and an uncontrollable thirst for blood. Unlike Venom, who sometimes plays by his own twisted code, Carnage is chaos incarnate. He kills without reason, enjoys the suffering of others, and turns every appearance into a massacre. Facing Carnage isn't just a battle, it's survival against pure evil. But Carnage is only the beginning. Another villain who chills the spine is Morlun. Unlike the flashy, loud villains Spider-Man often fights, Morlun is quiet, relentless, and unstoppable. A vampiric predator who feeds on totems, beings connected to the essence of animals. Morlun sees Spider-Man not as an enemy, but as prey. Every time he appears, Peter Parker feels the cold breath of inevitability. No matter how hard he fights, Morlun always comes back, stronger and hungrier than before. Facing him is like being stalked by death itself. Then we have the Lizard. Dr. Kurt Connors began as a kind man, a mentor to Peter, but when his experiments went wrong, he transformed into a reptilian monster driven by primal instincts. What makes the Lizard truly terrifying isn't just its monstrous form, but the tragedy behind it. He's a reminder that even good people can turn into nightmares. In some stories, the Lizard has tried to transform all of humanity into creatures like himself, an image straight out of a horror apocalypse. And speaking of disturbing, let's not forget the Jackal. Miles Warren, a brilliant scientist obsessed with cloning, lost his sanity after falling into a dark obsession with Gwen Stacy. His experiments gave birth to twisted clones, grotesque mutations, and some of the most unsettling storylines in Spider-Man's history. The Jackal represents obsession taken to its darkest extreme. Not content to simply kill, he manipulates reality itself, warping lives until nothing is recognizable. Another villain who thrives in the shadows is Mr. Negative. At first glance, he looks like a simple crime lord, but his powers born from a dark energy that corrupts the soul make him truly nightmarish. Mr. Negative can turn the goodness inside a person into cruelty and malice. Imagine your closest allies turning against you, their best qualities twisted into weapons. That's the fear Mr. Negative brings, and it's a horror that goes beyond physical pain and psychological terror. And then, of course, there's Green Goblin. While not monstrous in form, Norman Osborn is the embodiment of madness. With his cackling laughter, pumpkin bombs, and razor-edged glider, he's like a slasher villain dressed in green and purple. But what makes him terrifying isn't just his arsenal, it's his mind. Osborn doesn't just want to defeat Spider-Man, he wants to break him, destroy everyone he loves, and haunt him forever. His murder of Gwen Stacy still stands as one of the darkest moments in comic book history. Finally, let's mention Vermin, a lesser-known but deeply disturbing enemy. Created by Baron Zemo and twisted by experiments, Vermin is a cannibalistic creature who lurks in the sewers. He embodies raw, animalistic horror, the kind of villain who doesn't have a master plan, only the hunger to tear flesh and feast on fear. Each of these villains proves something chilling. Spider-Man's world is not just about swinging between skyscrapers and cracking jokes. Behind the humor and bright colors, his stories contain some of Marvel's darkest nightmares. These enemies test not just Peter Parker's strength, but his sanity, his humanity, and his will to keep fighting when surrounded by horror. So now I'll ask you, which of these villains do you think is the scariest? Carnage, Morlun, Green Goblin, or maybe one of the others? Let me know in the comments, I'll be reading them all. And if you enjoyed this dive into the terrifying side of Spider-Man's universe, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, leave a like, and share the